These wizards wield the elements with a swordsman's grace. Once one of the most powerful magical organizations in the world, they now wage war in the shadows. Driven, passionate, and more than a little arrogant. This is the Order of Hermes. The Order of Hermes traces its origins back 5,000 years ago to ancient Egypt, a period of significant magical development in the Western world. One of the most important developments of the time was a writing system. It allowed mages to share their ideas with others and, more significantly, allowed them to capture those ideas in writing, which made them easier to control and manipulate. One of the most powerful mystics of the time was an ascended mage named Hermes Trismegistus, who the practice of Hermeticism is named for. As the Ascension War grew more and more violent, various Hermetic orders found themselves at war with each other. Despite all drawing their magic from the same source, Hermetics all strive for perfection. And when you have a bunch of people all striving for perfection in different ways, fighting is bound to happen. By the time the 8th century came around, two Hermetic mages decided that all that time spent fighting could be better spent working together. These mages were the wizard Bonasagus and the lady Trianoma. Bonasagus was responsible for the development of the Parma Magica, a spell that allowed magi to defend themselves from magical attacks without having to resort to violence. This meant that mages could meet together and trade magical theories, and be relatively certain the debate wouldn't end in one or both of them meeting their deaths as a result. Lady Trianoma was a diplomat who, in 731, had received a vision that foretold the death of Hermetic magic. In an attempt to prevent this, Lady Trianoma managed to track Bonasagus to Germany and persuade him to teach her the Parma Magica. She then used her power, connections, and diplomatic skills to convince various Hermetic mages, including Bonasagus, to meet and discuss forming a union of Hermetic wizards, an Order of Hermes, if you will. So, in 767, 12 Hermetic groups, each calling themselves houses, met in the German city of Duranmar and signed the Pax Hermetica, officially forming the Order of Hermes. The first big example of order infighting came around the 11th century. The House Tremere, an organization of master duelists, made multiple attempts to wrench control away from other houses, starting with their leader, also named Tremere, attempting to become the sole ruler of the order and being stopped by a cabal of mages independent from it. Later, in 1003, they accused the druidic House Diadni of consorting with demons and had them ousted from the Order of Hermes. The most severe of Tremere's crimes were brought to life around the turn of the 11th century, when it was revealed that 7 years prior, Tremere and 7 of his disciples had used an ancient ritual to turn themselves into vampires, in an attempt to become immortal. House Titalis joined forces with the vampires of Clan Zemisi in an attempt to wipe out the Tremere, and were swiftly defeated, with the houses Maronita and Gerbidin being forced into the rather humiliatingly named House Ex Miscellanea, where the order would place the quote-unquote lesser houses. That's 3 powerful houses gone in the space of a year. And that's just an inkling of the endless troubles the Hermetics were plagued with. By the Renaissance, most of their most powerful chantries had been destroyed by the Craftsmasons, a group that would go on to become one of the founding conventions of the Order of Reason. By the time the Grand Convocation occurred, the 12 houses has been reduced to 7, greatly weakening the Order's power. So, when given a chance to join the Council of 9 Mystic Traditions and fight back, they quickly accepted, becoming the de facto leaders of the Council due to their prior efforts to defeat the technocracy. During the Victorian era, the Order attempted to increase their power by controlling mortal society, through secret organizations like the Freemasons. However, this attempt at growing power was countered by the alchemists of House Verdicius abandoning the Order for the technocracy, as well as them losing control over their largest chantry, and their Horizon emissary kinda being a dick. Thankfully, the Order's power began to grow again around the time of the Second World War, when it was discovered that the Axis powers were being influenced by the Nefandi, corrupted mages who sought to unravel all of reality. The Order sent some of its most powerful mages to join a number of technocratic agents in an attempt to defeat the Nefandi and the Axis at large. 1999 brought about the conflagration and the Week of Nightmares, which I discuss more in depth in another video, link in the sidebar, which led to the Avatar Storm, a wave of spiritual energy that wiped out most of the Council's most powerful mages. Most of the younger Hermetics actually saw this as a good thing, as politics has always been an annoyingly important part of Hermetic life, and the disappearance of most of the older Magi meant that the Hermetics could focus more on magic than on infighting, and that more technomancers would be attracted to the Hermetic ways. So, while the Ascension War may look bleak for the Order of Hermes, they are no less ferocious in their fight for perfection, which leads us nicely to the Order's philosophy and practices. As I said earlier, perfection is at the heart of Hermetic philosophy. Ever since their inception during the Dark Ages, the Order of Hermes has worked to gather and collect all Hermetic knowledge that has been lost to time. Everything from ancient rituals and formulae to long-dead languages are considered essential to Hermetic philosophy. In that respect, they're kind of like a miniature Council of Nine, uniting disparate beliefs in the pursuit of improving themselves as a whole, though the differences between the Hermetic houses aren't as pronounced as those of the Council's traditions. According to Hermetic philosophy, every individual has a word, a single driving purpose behind their existence. Hermetics are expected to explore all aspects of their word in order to improve as mages and, you guessed it, achieve ascension. Before the 9 spheres were codified during the Renaissance, many traditions had 4 pillars of magic that were essential to their metaphysics. If a tradition existed during the Dark Ages, I'll be sure to discuss their pillars. The Order of Hermes had the life magic of anima, the cerebral magic of corona, the control of quintessence brought about by Primus, and the elemental magic of Viris. And that's about it, actually. There's not a lot to discuss when it comes to the paradigms and metaphysics of individual traditions, so let's move on, shall we? The current houses in the Order of Hermes number 9 in total and consist of the following. House Bonasagus are named for and founded by the creator of the Parma Magica. Members of this house are theoreticians, hypothesizing, running tests, hypothesizing more, and doing it all over again until they get it right. In addition to the Order's focus on the sphere of forces, the Bonasagus also focus on quintessence and prime magic. House Flambeau are battle mages, wielding forces with even more expertise than the rest of the Order. The Flambeau often rely on swords and guns as much as magic in battle. Certainly not the brightest thinkers of the Order, Flambeau nevertheless embody the fiery spirit of the Order as a whole. House Fortunae are master mathematicians, using simple mathematical principles to manipulate luck and fate. The Fortunae tend to focus on the symbolic aspects of money, fascinated by the fact that meaningless pieces of paper and discs of iron could have such an influence on the lives of millions. Their control of entropy make them fierce rivals of the Euthanatos, who view the house's use of entropy as disrespectful to the wheel of life they have sworn to protect. House Quasitor are basically the cops of the Hermetics. They believe in the power of the law, the laws of society, the laws of physics, and the quote-unquote laws of magic. To them, the key to ascension is fully understanding and obeying the laws of the universe. To aid them in understanding these laws, many members of the Quasitor learn spirit magic. House Shea are scribes and historians, tapping into the ancient idea of true names. While looked down upon by the rest of the Order as simple writers, the Shea are responsible for preserving most of the Order's century-spanning history. House Salificati is made up of members of the Salificati, a tradition that founded and betrayed the technocracy, then founded and betrayed the Council. The alchemists of the Salificati embody the Order's obsessive drive for perfection, striving to discover the one truest form of magic. House Titalis believe in the power of will and improving through conflict. Titalans seek to constantly test their wills against the world, attempting to achieve the best outcome possible while exerting the least amount of effort possible in every scenario. With a reputation for being stubborn and occasional rumors about devil worship, the Titalis might not be one of the most popular Hermetic houses, but their drive is absolutely unmatched. House Verdicius is an organization of enchanters and craftsmen similar to the Salificati. The magic of Verdicius is time-consuming and done in painstaking detail to ensure that every ritual and spell goes as smoothly as possible. The Verdicious strive to find the perfection in the mundane, best personified by the alchemical principle of transmutation of lead into gold. The final house of the Order of Hermes is House Ex Miscellanea, where hermetic ideals that don't quite fit into one of the other 8 houses go. Some of the groups that are part of House Ex Miscellanea include House Marinetta, focused on fairy magic, House Skopos, who utilize quantum theory in their rituals, and the houses Honglei and Noma, focused on Chinese and African variations of Hermeticism, respectively. The Order of Hermes is definitely the most politic-y and hierarchical of the traditions. Every Hermetic is ranked on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being unawakened mortals and 10 being archmasters of all the 9 spheres. Throughout the first 3 levels, the Hermetic is considered an apprentice, and is put through a regime where they have to learn the Order's history, as well as several ancient and esoteric languages, and the Code of Hermes, an oath of loyalty all apprentices swear to the Order. After a period of apprenticeship, usually 7 years but occasionally shorter or longer, they are allowed to challenge for recognition as a full magus. What they're made to do has never been specified, but failure could result in a continued apprenticeship, or even death. Should they survive, however, they are granted their own sigil to represent their achievements, as well as full mage status. As a mage progresses up the ladder of politics, they discover more powerful hermetic secrets, but also get embroiled deeper and deeper in hermetic politics. As a result, powerful mages are encouraged to seek out apprentices so they can use them for political maneuvering. And as those mages get more powerful, they seek out apprentices for political maneuvering. It's basically one big pyramid scheme, though with the destruction of the Horizon Realm during the Week of Nightmares, the Order has been able to focus less on politicking and more on their journey to ascension. And that, ladies and gentlemen, folks, was the Order of Hermes. In the next episode, we'll discuss one of the oldest magical traditions in existence, the Thanatos. In the meantime, if you like this video, don't forget there is a button for that, and please be sure to subscribe if you want to see more content from me. As always, my name is Lily, and I will see you lovely people later.